this, drop it into this. Hey, what's up folks? I'm out in the garage today and we're gonna work on my mountain bike. So, looking to switch over. I have a Cannondale Moterra SL2 and I'm gonna be swapping with 27.5 rear, a mullet setup, into a 29er front, 29er rear setup. All right, so before you get started, I've gone ahead and I've downloaded the Moterra SL manual. So I have that on my phone for reference, and I'm just double checking to see what direction the flip chip is already installed. I haven't checked this yet, so let's pop over to the bike, and when we check this, I can see my flip chip is set up so that it's closest to the front of the bike, and which is how it would be set up for a mullet setup. So 29er front, 275 rear, your flip chip should be set like this. If your bike is set up mullet and your flip chip is already flipped, you don't have to do anything. Just put your new rear tire on, put your new rear 29er wheel on, and you should be good to go. But I can't imagine that ever happening, but it's always good to double check before you take everything apart. Here's the rear wheel I'm gonna switch over to. So I picked up a Stans, one of the Flow EXE wheels, and it has their E-rated hub, and I think this will be a really nice setup for the back. It's a pretty lightweight wheel, feels great. I run Stans wheels on most of my bikes. I also picked up a Stans wheel for the front, but for right now, I'm just looking at setting up the rear and just getting them to match. So 29er front, 29er rear. Get that dialed, and then yeah, I'm just trying to go for a ride tonight. Okay, so one of the reasons why I'm making this change is I get a lot of pedal strikes. Part of this could be too much sag, so check that. But the other reason is just where I ride is super rocky, and so I'm looking for a little more bottom bracket clearance and therefore more pedal clearance. This already comes with 165 cranks, so I'm not going to go much shorter there. So I've just got the bike set up here, leaning against the wall. If I have it set there, we're not too far off level, so I'll keep that in mind, and then let's measure the bottom here and see where we're at for a crank, how much distance we have between these two. All right, so for the sake of the video, let's just call that's flat. So let's call that 7 inches to the pedal, and the pedal's pretty level. This isn't rocket science. We should be able to see a nice little difference here. That's basically to the top of the spindle. So that sounds a little bit more accurate. Let's go to the top of the spindle. From there, we'll check and see how much extra ride height we get. The next thing I'm gonna do is work on removing the cassette. Now, all right, so to remove the cassette, I've got my cassette removal tool. And that will slide in there. I've got my chain whip. Okay, finally figured out how to use the chain whip. So got the chain whip on here. I've got this loosened. So I'm just gonna go ahead and take this cassette and we'll just slide it straight off. I'm just gonna place it right there. And that's probably the little spacer that we needed on the wheel to make the rest of this all work. And then I'm also seeing that we have a little spacer here. So I'm gonna take this off as well. I think, whoops. It's the free hub body. Don't want that off. Okay, interesting. So there's a little plastic washer, if you will. So we'll set that down there, and that's all part of the free hub body. So these are GT Swiss hubs that came with the bike. All right, let's grab our new wheel. Here's our new wheel. Fresh tire. This should fit over top. Yes, and it does. Brilliant. Got the new wheel here. This is a little plastic shim spacer that came off. I'm gonna go ahead and put that on first. This is micro spline, HG micro spline. So when you order your wheel, if you're looking for your wheel, you'll need a micro spline hub to go with this bike. Okay, here's the wide part. Here's the wide part on the splines. Yeah, there we go. Made a mess here. I'm just gonna do these by hand. If you're smart enough to keep these all in order, it will make it a little easier. There we go. Don't forget your little spacers in between. card snafu fixed, resolved. Back at it here. Okay, so I've gone ahead, I've retightened this. The other thing that I like to do when I have my wheel off like this is, these are little wire brushes here. And I like to just go ahead and clean the freewheel while it's off. It just makes it really easy to do. And I just kind of use the one-way mechanism to help me out. Nice. There we go. Nice and clean. Ready to go. Once we get moving, we need to stop. So let's find some brakes. This is a 6-bolt rotor. The 6-bolt rotor also came stock on my Moterra SL2. So we're gonna swap over this brake rotor. So this will be a T25. If you're looking for it like I was. Wow, these are all surprisingly quite loose. And then not for install, but for removal, I'm always happy to cheat a little bit here. All right, and then keep in mind, we have this little magnet that also needs to go back when you install your disc brake. And here's our new wheel. So let's go ahead and get this rolling. And if you haven't thought about it yet, try not to touch your rotor too much with greasy hands. If you do, just take a second to clean it off. A little bit of heat on the rear rotor here. Haven't really done too many big descents. Central Pennsylvania isn't really known for its vert. I'd love to take this bike back to like P&W though, where I used to live. Those would be some fun laps. I had quite a few friends that were getting into e-bikes when I left, and they wouldn't think anything of doing 2 laps on some of our bigger trails. I like these flex heads, but sometimes they are quite annoying. In fact, I'm going to switch to a non-flex head for this so I can keep this a little more square. Okay, sweet, like that. I'm also going to take a second to clean this off, and then while I'm ahead here, I've just got a little ISO alcohol that I buy at Family Dollar, whatever your local store is. I'm just going to wipe the rotor off, make sure this stays nice and clean. There we go. Looks good. I'm psyched. Okay, now probably the more challenging part, which is flip chip. All right, so I'm gonna be working on this upside down. So hopefully it's not too painful for y'all to watch, but I just loosened this bolt here. I'm actually gonna thread it partially back in until I get the other side loose. There we go. All right. Push that forward. Right. So one little thing I like to do, I like to grab a little shop towel, and I'm gonna put left and right on there, and I'm gonna organize the parts as they come off. And I'm just gonna use my right or left, not necessarily rider's right or left. Okay. So this will be right side, whip. So on this side, I'm just trying to work this bolt out. There we go. Whoops. That's not a good thing. Let's go see where that went. Oh yeah, there's all the little bolts and things that I was red that was gonna fall out. It totally did. So all of these things just fell out. So it looks like these are flat on one side. I don't know why my camera's upside down right now. Here we go. Looks like these are flat on one side, and then they have a raised inner lip on the other side, and that's the side that goes in towards the pivot. And looks like there should be two, one on each side. So I just need to go find one. Okay, here's where we're at parts wise. Okay, so we got your bolt that starts on the outside, goes through this piece. We've got your two inner washer spacer things, and then you've got this outside piece. And this is the part that we see before we took it off. So this is going to be flipped and go towards the rear of the bike now. So we know this flip chip has to go this way. Then we have the two inner, and then this one also has to go towards the back. Okay, so we can put those two in. So I'm going to use a little bit of assembly glue, aka waterproof grease. Sometimes I find that just using this can actually just keep all the parts in place long enough to get it back together. Also might not be a bad idea to clean your pivots at this point, but these look pretty good. So, assembly lube applied. And we'll just tack that there. And then a little more assembly lube. And let's see how we can get to this one nicely. Okay, so we've got both of those on. And I think what I'm going to do at this point, now that I have both of those in there, I need to do the same for the other side. So let's try that. This may or may not work very well, but we'll see. So we'll get that one installed on the other side. I'm sorry you can't see the other side. I should have set up a second camera. Okay, and then assembly lube applied there. Okay. Alright, so the grease is doing a good job holding that together. Now what I'm going to try and do is, let me reframe this for you. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is, see I have these pieces, the little washers are set on both sides, and I've used the waterproof grease. It's hopefully should hold it there. I know it looks a little messy, we'll clean it up. And then the next thing we're going to do is we'll go ahead and install our pivots, but the main thing I want to focus on first is just taking this piece and getting it set and leveraged up here. Hopefully we can do that without anything really moving around too much. It's definitely a little awkward. Oh, there's a little bit of spring load on there, but I think if I just take this, and if I can just find, oh, there we go, there's one side. Alright, we'll take that. Let me switch to this side and do the same thing here. Okay, that's in. And that's in. Okay, so both of those are set now, facing towards the rear. And the last thing we'll do is install the inside pieces for the pivot. And this is what goes on. Yeah, so this piece, so it goes on the inside here, all right? So flip that. This. And I'm just gonna tighten the screw, which should basically bring this in. Yep. Again, sorry if this angle is hopefully not too weird, but we'll edit it down so this shouldn't be too painful. All right, so that one's in. Then we'll swing around to the other side and get this one in. Hands are super greasy. Can't hold on to anything. There we go. There. So I actually pushed the bolt back out partially, and it allowed the spacers to sit, to go back and find this little recessed home. We'll snug that up once we get it back up on its wheel. I just want to take a second to clean off my hands. Alright, let's grab the wheel. So we'll go ahead and get the rear wheel installed now. And I put the cassette in the lowest chain ring, smallest. So all I have to do is line up the chain with this small chain ring. And line up the brakes. There we go. And then this drops right in. Threads are clean. This is a 5mm. Turn the cranks. Don't know why they don't want to turn. It's really tight. Something's binding. Well, I'm not sure what it is, but I'm just gonna go check. Oh, this is really loose. Oh, this whole thing is loose. Okay, it looks like, well, you can't really hear it, but this whole cassette is loose. Looks like something wasn't quite lined up, and this is also loose here. This is loose here, so let me retighten this. Okay, so it's just kept sitting crooked. There we go. Cool. Tighten that up. All right, now we're back in shape here. So the the cassette wasn't seated properly, was taking up too much space, was too wide, and then it was binding. All right, got the bike back up against the wall. We've got our level in here. You can see pretty much level to where we were. And now let's get the tape out, see where we're at. We're still at 7 inches to the top of the spindle from what I can see. I thought the ride height would change a lot more. Don't know, don't take my advice on this, or don't use my measurements on this one. Just know that if you're switching over to 29er rear, then this is the process to do it. Your flip chips should now be facing towards the back, which these are, and I'll retighten them down to 7 Newton meters, which is what's prescribed here. Wipe this off, and let's go for a ride. Okay, so last night, after setting up the bike with the 29er wheel, went for a night ride with Mitch, and one of the things that he helped me realize was the whole idea of the flip chip is to keep the geo the same. So whether you're running a 29er wheel or a 27 wheel, it's a little bit smaller. The flip chip helps to keep the geometry of the bike the same, which helps me explain why when I was measuring the height of the ground to pedal spindle, and it was about 7 inches each time, why that wasn't changing with the larger wheel. Riding impressions though, wow, I gotta say the 29er wheel made a big difference. When I made the measurements, there was no changes that showed up as far as like the pedal height. So I was kind of expecting to just have a bunch of pedal strikes like I always do. And with the 29er wheel, it was far less, it happened far less. So I don't know, even if the pedal spindle height didn't change at all, I wonder if something else about the geometry changed with the 29er wheel that just offered and gave me way less pedal strikes. So I was really happy about that. I was also really happy with just the overall ride. The 29er wheel in the back, I felt like I have a lot of rock gardens in like central Pennsylvania area, and we ride a lot of rocks all the time. And the 29er wheel, I feel like it just gave me that little bit better kind of like approach to corners of all the rocks, and it just rode a lot better, and I was a lot happier with it. It also puts me up a little bit higher in the rear. I definitely noticed that. It almost made me feel like my seat was too tall. I'm like almost 6'2", 6'3", like 35 inch inseam, so I've got some legs on me, and like I run my seat pretty high, and I almost felt like I was like kind of hitting the dropper and just dropping it down like an inch or two to make me feel where I was previously to the 27.5 setup. But overall, really happy with the 29er setup. I really wish this bike should come from Cannondale 29er setup, front and rear. I mean, maybe they're selling way more of them out west, and I used to live out west, and I totally get the mullet setup, and it makes sense. But for East Coast riding, it should just be able to come spec'd with 29er wheels, front and rear. I just think it would be, I think riders on the East Coast would have a lot more fun with it, at least in the Northeast. You know, I haven't really ridden, you know, more south than that. So, but you know, I have ridden Whistler, I've ridden Chamonix, I've ridden Finale Liguri. Like, I definitely attest to the 29er setup on the Moterra SL. So, yeah. Hopefully this video was helpful. Hopefully you learned a couple things along the way, and you know what to look for when you set up your Moterra with a 29-inch rear wheel switching over from the mullet. All right, happy trails.